So without further ado, I'm going to be going straight into the questions that I was asked and how I was able to answer them. When it was my turn, I said good morning. The VO didn't respond to my good morning. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessiby and you're welcome to another video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my F1 visa experience. I'm going to be sharing the questions they asked me and how I was able to answer, because after my interview I wrote down the questions they asked me and my responses to them. So in this video I'm going to be sharing my F1 visa transcripts. Now before I start, I'm going to say something real quick. I understand the fact that I was fully funded, so my interview experience might not be exactly the same with someone who is not funded, because I don't get to be asked questions like, oh, who is going to be sponsoring you? You know, all of those questions they ask you when you are not fully funded. So my experience might be different. So because of this, in the next episode of this series, I'm going to be bringing a guest who is going to be talking about our F1 visa interview experience. She was not fully funded. She didn't even have any funding at all, yet she was able to get her visa approved. So she's going to be sharing what she did, what she didn't do, what she avoided, all of those things. Secondly, she's also going to be sharing how she has been surviving in the United States without any form of funding, because I know that most people have asked me a lot that they didn't get funding. Can they cope? Should they come? How would they be able to pay their school fees? You know, you're just wondering if you can survive without funding. So she's going to be sharing some tips that you might need to know in order to survive. Basically, I call them OT. She's going to be sharing some OT with you guys. So if you are not subscribed, you want to subscribe now so that you don't miss the second episode of this series. So before I go straight into my F1 visa interview transcript, I'm going to be talking about some tips that might help you during the course of your interview, some do's and don'ts, things that you want to avoid as much as possible, things that you don't want to talk about. So firstly, I'm going to be talking about the fact that you have to prove to the VO is visa officer, you have to prove to them that you don't plan on staying back. You have to prove that you plan on coming back to Nigeria. So what I'm saying is that you should not give the VO a sense of jackpot, like you are jackpot, if you know what that means. You need to prove to the visa officer that you are coming back to Nigeria. Now, how can you do that? You can do that through different ways. The first one is by showing family ties. How do you show family ties? Basically, family ties is like you trying to show them that you are tied to somebody in your family, and then because of that you are going to come back. Let's say, for example, you are married and your families are back in Nigeria. You can prove that, oh, like your wife and kids are in Nigeria. So that will make the visa officer know that you definitely will want to go back to meet your family in Nigeria. So even if the VO does not ask you, just try to find a way to chip that in. Another way to prove that you are planning on coming back to Nigeria is by telling the VO that, let's say for example, you have a job that you are doing before going or before traveling. Try to tell the VO that you plan on coming back to Nigeria, do you understand, to continue your job roles. You can also show them letters from your company showing that you're actually on leave, so that way they know that, okay, you actually have a contract going on in Nigeria, you have a job going on in Nigeria, and you're only coming here to like further your studies, and you plan on going back to use that degree to get an higher role in your company. That way the VO is convinced that you are coming back, because you don't want to give them a sign that you are not coming back. That's a major red flag. Another major red flag is the fact that if, let's say, you have family members here in the United States, let's assume your siblings are also in the United States, except you really have to mention that, then you should. But if you cannot, like if it's possible for you to avoid mentioning that, then you should not. If it's possible for you to avoid mentioning that in your DS 160, you also should not, because let's say for example you gain admission to a school in Texas and you plan on studying in Texas, and let's say your siblings are also in Texas. So you telling the VO that, oh, you have siblings in Texas and then you're also going there to study, it's like as if, like, to the VO, it's like as if you guys are planning to relocate and then form like a family thing in Texas. It means that you also want to go to Texas, like relocate where your family members are, and you don't plan on coming back. You just want to go and reunite with your family members. So it's not a good thing. It's like a major red flag. So try as much as possible to not say things that are unnecessary, except you really have to say it. Also, you'll be filling your DS-160 form. Try as much as possible to know what you've said there, because during the course of your interview, the visa officer is going to open up your DS-160 form in front of him or her, and then they cross-check whatever you say to what is written. So you don't want to say something contradicting, because that is also a major red flag. If you lie, it's a major red flag. Another thing is the fact that if you've gone for an interview before and you were rejected and then you are going again, they will for sure ask you that, is this your first time of applying for the US visa? You don't want to lie. If you say it is your first time and it's not your first time, trust me, they know that it is not your first time, and that's another major red flag. So you have to be honest as possible, and they might ask you during the course of your interview that what has changed during the time you were rejected and now. So you can say, okay, you went to work on yourself, you went to, be more strategic with your applications, all of those things. Another way to also increase your chances of getting your visa approved is by convincing the viewer that you are a legit student, like you're actually going there to study, because they understand that most people actually travel to United States with a student visa and then they just do not school. Like some of them can like get married to maybe a citizen to get their green card, and then some might do a table job. So you want to prove to the viewer that you are not one of those persons, you're actually really going there to study. Now, how can you do that? By trying to chip it in. For example, they can ask questions like, oh, how did you get your admission or something. Let them know that you understand the process, because you went through the process yourself. It wasn't like you paid an agent to help you apply to schools. You need to convince them that you apply, you know what you are doing. So you can even talk about your research, what you plan on doing when you get there, like, oh, I'll be working with Professor ABC on DNA, like just talk about what you'll be working on. So that way they know that you know what you are doing, you're actually going there to study. And the fact that you even mentioned the professor name that you'll be working with, it increases your chances basically. Anyways, I can go on and on, but those are just like the major things. So I'm going to tell you guys what really helped me, and I'm going to be advising you guys to do this thing that I'm about to say. So before your visa interview, you want to have a proposed transcript. So a proposed transcript contains all the possible questions that they might ask you, all of the possible questions that you might be asked. You can go to Nairaland, you can go online to check for possible F1 visa interview and try to compose your proposed transcript. So after you've written all of the questions, write your answers to all of these questions, how you plan on answering. Give it to somebody to help you review, preferably somebody who has passed through the process before. What I mean by that is someone who has applied for F1 visa interview and has gotten it, because the person is more experienced. So you can give that proposed transcript to the person to help you review. After the person has reviewed, you want to read it, and then you want to memorize the answers to all of the questions. That is what I did, and I tell you that all of the questions that I was asked, none of the questions were something that I was hearing for the first time. All of the questions I was asked were in my proposed transcript, and I just told them my answer to it because I already have answer to it. So that way you are not put on the spot, because normally when you go for your visa interview, you are going to be under so much tension, because there's just a lot of people, especially for those in Nigeria who will be doing their interview in Lagos. It is more scary because everybody are in the same room, and then when they reject somebody, you hear it, because it's like it's an open place. They use microphones, so it's like you just hear them rejecting people left and right. So that enough can build tension, can make you really nervous, can make you really scared. So if you already have an answer to your questions, the tension won't affect the way you answer the questions. You'll be more confident and bold. But if you don't have an answers to these questions and they're asking, it's like they're putting you on the spot, it's very easy to stammer, it's very easy to just lose it basically. So you want to be more confident. Now take note that there's a difference between being confident and bold and saying something as if you are reciting it. Don't just go there and start talking like a robot just because you've practiced the answers and you're talking like I saw it a lot. Like some people just talk like a robot. It became like it was very, very obvious that they crammed it. Try to say it like you are reasoning it out, even though you know the answer, even though you've actually crammed it. Don't say it like you are cramming it. Just like the way movie stars, like actors and actresses, all what they say is a script, they've crammed it, but they don't say it as if they've crammed it. They say it like it's a conversation. So try to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to be going straight into the questions that I was asked and how I was able to answer them. So I was interviewed in Lagos, Nigeria. When it was my turn, I said good morning. the VO didn't respond to my good morning. She just said, pass me your passport and I-20. So of course that would be the first thing they're going to collect from you. So I passed it to her, and then she just kept on typing and typing and typing. And then she asked me, what do you do currently? My response was, I teach at the Best Legacy High School, where I teach chemistry. And that was all I wanted to say. But then she was looking at me as though she's not satisfied with my answer, as though she wanted me to continue. That look of okay, I'm listening. So I had to continue, and then I was like, oh, I finished my NYC of recent, where I worked at Unique Pharmaceutical Company. It was after I was done with that I started working as a chemistry tutor. And then she was like, wait, calm down, you might need to slow down your response, as I need to get this. What exactly do you do currently? She said I was talking too fast, so she was like, what exactly do you do currently? So I responded and I said, I teach chemistry at the Best Legacy School. And then she said, good, that was what I wanted to hear. Then she continued typing and typing and typing, and then she was like, so you said you teach chemistry there? I said, yes, ma. She continued typing and typing and typing, and then her next question was, what will this degree do for you? Now, before I say my response to this question, I'll just state that when they ask you that, what would this degree do for you, or like what's your long-term goal, or where do you see yourself, is an avenue to like give an hint of the fact that you are going back to Nigeria after your studies. So what would this degree do for you? Basically, I could have said, oh, this degree will make me, more competitive in job search or something. But like what you want to say is, oh, with this degree I'm coming back to my country. You can say you're going back to take up a research role at your university, or you're going back to like take up an higher position at a company where you work or something. So just chip it in for them to know that, okay, like in your long-term goal, it's in your plans to come back to Nigeria. So when she asked that, what would this degree do for you, my response was, with this degree, I intend to come back to Nigeria to take up a senior role as a research and development manager in a multinational pharmaceutical company here in Nigeria, as this degree will firstly equip me with the professional skills and research experience I will need. Also, this degree will make me competitive for such senior role. So it looks like a very good response, but that was because I had rehearsed, like I had an answer to all of the questions she asked me. It was part of my proposed transcript. You want to have a proposed transcript. Then after I said that, she continued typing, and then she was like, so what will you be working on when you get back? And then I said, I'll be working on cancer research, as that's what I'm going for during my program. So I used that to chip it in, the fact that I know what I'm going to United States to study. I know what my research is going to be all about. She didn't ask me that. Her question was, what will you be working on when you get back to Nigeria? My response was, I'll be working on cancer research, as that's what I'll be going for. Like that's what I'll be working on in the United States. They now said, during my program, I'll be working on medicinal chemistry and cancer research, improvement of drugs for treatment of breast cancer. Then she said, treatment of what? I said, breast cancer. Then she replied, breast cancer. And then she continued typing. And then she said, your visa has been approved, blah, 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 blah. So that was my transcript basically. So my point is, I already had answers to all of these questions. So like none of it didn't catch me unaware. I just said it like I was flowing and everything. So like I said again, my experience might not exactly be the same with someone who is not funded, because for you who are not fully funded, they'll definitely ask you that, who is sponsoring you, how is this person to you, all of those questions. So because of that, I'm going to be bringing a guest during the next episode of this series who is going to be sharing our interview experience. The difference between mine and hers is that I am fully funded, she is not funded. So she's going to be sharing tips with you guys on how to get your F1 visa interview approved. So if you enjoyed watching this video, if it was helpful to you, please don't forget to like and share it to everyone, share it to people. This video is might be really helpful to some people out there, so you might want to share it with you guys. So till next time, I remain Tess B, and I'm going to see you all in my next video. Bye.